Hip hop culture is not black culture. It's a piece of black culture, but it's not black culture. Despite what you hear from the hip hop blogs, despite what you hear from the hip hop artists, hip hop culture is not black culture. It is a piece of black culture. When they say, "Oh, the culture," well, the culture. This is not the culture. This is a subculture of the culture, because the culture is all encompassing of black people. And guess what? There's no such thing. There's no such thing, right? So it's taking every every subculture, combining it together, and all of that being black culture. And guess what? There's contradictions, and not one point of view, not one ideal set is the dominant culture in black culture. So even when I come on here and say, "Oh yeah, that's not aligned with black culture," that ain't right. I be wrong, because I speak to what I believe to be black culture. But I'm not gonna marginalize us to hip hop. And yeah, I listen to it. I was listening to hip hop before I started this podcast. I be listening to the music. I be listening. That's terrible English. I listen to the music that speaks to a way of life that I would never live. That I don't live. I can't live. I'm not built for that. Too soft. Too much soft. But the point being is I can understand entertainment and keep it at entertainment. I'm not influenced by that to drive my everyday life and my decision. That's me. But I'm just a big baby, so what do I know? But no, we talk about crack rock or jump shot, and now let's add spit hot fire like Dylon. Dylon. Who the best five rappers ever? Dylon. Yeah. So if you can sling a crack rock, shoot a jump shot, or spit some hot fire, then you've made it in black culture. Excuse, look what you did there. No, you've made it in hip hop culture. And if you believe what they tell you, you've made it in black culture, but that's not the case. We dominate these high risk professions, not realizing that we could go into medium and low risk professions and have the same level of domination. And the crazy thing about these high risk professions that we quote unquote dominate, we're still just a talent. We're still just a worker. We're not the owners. Now, if you decide to be a lawyer and open up your own law firm, guess what? You're the owner. You own it. If you decide to be a plumber and open up your own plumbing business, even if that's not what you initially do, you go work for a company for a while and you build up a client base. Guess what? You own it. I mean, you can do it in rap. You can rap. Eventually go independent, not work for a record label. We'll see how well you get placed. We'll see what shows you get. We'll see how much it costs for you to get booked and what they're willing to pay. Right? Or you can just sell rock and go to prison. Cause what Jesus said, all the real niggas either dead or in jail. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you want to live a real criminal life. You end up like a real criminal, dead or in jail, because that's where criminals end up. That's where crime gets you. But the point that I'm making is the professions that we pushing P, right? Yeah, got them. Free him or maybe not. I don't know. But now the P that we're pushing, the professions that we push, don't even speak to ownership. They speak to a high risk lifestyle. They speak to taking chances. It speaks to I gotta get as much as I can as quickly as possible because I don't know when I'll be able to get it again. And that's a toxic mindset, not only for one to have, but for one to pass down generationally, right? Because we talk about breaking generational curses. Well, let's break the generational curse of feeling like we have to get it all right now. I want it all or nothing at all. Nah, just give me a little bit right now. I'm gonna take my little bit and turn that into like a little bit, right? Or like a medium bit. I'm still gonna keep getting my little bit from you, but I'm gonna take my little bit and turn it into something that works for me. Then eventually I can get like my lot of bit and my own little niche. And I don't need your little bit no more because I'm creating my own bit from what I'm doing. But I can't do that if I'm going all or nothing. And there's nothing wrong with going all or nothing if that's what you want to do. But the idea that that's the only way to go, that's what's proposed in our community is the problem. The you only make it out of the hood this way. Let's not diminish what a good education can do for people. Let's not diminish what having a good network, whether it's business, whether it's trade, whether it's education, whatever it may be. I'll tell you what, dog, it's easier to be a lawyer than it is to get to the NBA or the NFL. It's easier to be a doctor than it is to become like the hottest rapper in the streets, right? It's easier to become a supply chain manager, a warehouse manager, a supervisor at a Home Depot than it is to become a rapper or a dope dealer, right? And the risk is a lot lower. So I think as Black America, we got to stop trying to live hip hop culture in our non hip hop lives and think that hip hop culture is the only culture that Black people can live and take lesser risks to get higher rewards. Because we get so caught up in the glitz and glamour of things, right? And we start to attach value based on net worth or perceived net worth, right? But value goes beyond money. Believe it or not, there are valuable people who aren't worth much because they have valuable knowledge, they have valuable skills, and maybe they're not the smartest person with their money. You got people bigging up Jay Z. Well, Jay Z's a good businessman and he's a pretty good rapper, but they're a really good rapper, great rapper. I shouldn't use Jay Z, right? But sometimes we want to speak to, oh, that mother, he broke. Yeah, he ain't got nothing going on for him. He don't know what he talking about. Have you listened to him or her? Maybe he or she got something good to say. I don't know, but so much of what drives, like, I mean, so much it drives Black culture and what we believe in and what we will stand on is, boy, he got that shit on, boy. Yeah, he got that shine, got the chain on, all that stuff. You know what? I'm gonna tuck my chain, cause it shouldn't matter if I can throw this chain on. It shouldn't matter if I can throw this Adidas on. I got my Webby. Shout out to my to family. Shout out to Andy out in New Orleans for the gear. But it should matter what I look like. It should matter how what I say. How I approach you. What I give you. What I look like should matter. You should be able to accept a rapper because they make good music and you like it, not because they got diamonds on, they got women, they got chains, they got money. Because if that's what we're going to use to define Black culture, then baby, I may not be Black culture. We may need to find a new word to describe a middle class Black culture because I ain't high class street music. That's not me, and that's not our entire culture. So I'm going to keep coming back to this because we've got to realize that there are levels to this, you know. But I look back at the role models that we had when I was growing up, the voices that I was told to listen to, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Thurgood Marshall, Clarence Thomas, believe it or not. I know it's crazy. Um, Benjamin Elijah Mays, George Washington Carver. I was directed towards more Black academics more black innovators than black entertainers. And I wonder what life is going to look like for my children when it comes to the black role models they're supposed to look up to. Will we highlight the academics? Will we highlight the Nobel laureates? Will we highlight the Pulitzer Prize winners? Will we highlight the screenwriter and not the leading actor? Will we have the opportunity to be coaches and executives and not just talent on the field? Will we highlight the owner, the businessman, the mogul that may not have the clout? Because what I see us moving towards is a generation that only highlights the clout. And if we only are going to highlight the clout, we're going to build a generation of people who are only chasing clout and they're not chasing what it takes to actually have some real clout. We're going to highlight internet clout, but we're not going to highlight owners in the internet space, right? We're not going to highlight those who are academic, those who found a trade, they found a skill, and they worked their asses off to get it. No, we're just gonna give the biggest fool who gets the biggest check the biggest praise, and it's like it's either 1 in a million. But what about the guy who worked his ass off? He started off making 30,000 a year. Then he worked hard to get to 70. He worked hard to get to 90. Then he started investing what he had so he could start his own practice. And now he's his own man. He only makes 250 a year, but he it's a solid 250. He knows it's 250, and I say only 250. Like that's not a lot of money. That's a good chunk of money. Don't let hip hop fool you making $250,000 a year. It's bad. See, that's why I say hip hop culture is not black culture, because they want to take stuff away from poor people. They sound like the Republicans. But that's the culture that y'all support. Those are the people that y'all get behind. Those are your leaders. And that's not good leadership. That's not what I want my baby girl to be looking up to. That's not who, when my baby girl opens up her history book, I don't want her seeing. Ooh. Broke boys don't deserve no pussy. I know that's right. No, I don't. Ooh, no, I don't want my baby girl doing that, because you're not defined by your net worth. You shouldn't be, at least. But that's what we're moving towards. But the narrative feeds itself, because the more and more we glorify this clout culture, this hip hop culture, and we project it as the image of what success in black culture is, you have more people who think that's all we can do, that's all we're capable of, and that's what they work towards. And that's my fear, is what's happening. And it becomes the rat race. A rat on a wheel, looking for a thrill, but going absolutely nowhere. But what do I know? I'm just a big baby. And I'm back. We balling, big baby. Sorry, I gotta take another sip of this wine. Please excuse the fly. There's a little crack in the window in the office, and he always flies in.